everyone. Welcome back to Here at Two Cents. It's Cammy and Allie, and we are here back better than ever for a new episode. How you doing?
Doing well, doing well. And today we are not alone. We have a special guest with us. Her name is Angel. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Allie and Cami. This is exciting. I'm so happy to be here. I am a 40 something entrepreneur and content creator in my free time. Right now, my biggest venture is Locks and Loose. That's LOC and LOOSE, Locks and Loose. And we just do natural hair and beauty products as well as statement apparel. And then on the creative side, I do have a page called I Am Angel Marie. Please check it out on Instagram and follow me. It's really just my journey and my love of food as a empty nester. So I'm just really excited to be here. Thanks, Al.
And today we get to introduce her to her first experience with anime.
Very first, yes.
We are very excited to have you on the show. Thank you for taking the time out to
Yeah.
come and be on this show with us.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I was excited when Allie, I'm like, why me? But it's been a good experience. I can't wait to share it with your audience.
I gave you about roughly like 9 shows to choose from.
Right.
Now the shows that I gave you kind of range. They went from Nana to Blood of Zeus to The Rising of the Shield Hero to Erased. Um, do you remember going back and looking at the shows of what
Yeah.
stood out to you?
I think, because what I tried to do was not research this at all, just to
Hmm.
give a little bit of background. Like, I've never watched anime, I've never been exposed to anime. I barely know what anime is. So I really did not want to research what you sent me. You did send me some shows, and I really just picked one, which was Erased to watch. There was really no rhyme or reason to it. I just figured, and you know what, to be honest, let me stop. I think that I looked at the lengths of the series that you
I know
sent
you
me,
did.
and there were some that had like 18 or 20 episodes, and I'm just really super busy. So I think I went with Erased because it was something I felt like that I could manage. So,
Yeah, Erased, if you guys don't know, has about 12 episodes. And it is true. Some of the shows that we gave her, they range from like 20, 25,
yeah,
12. I
not
think Blood
happening.
of Zeus was like 6 or so. No, I think Blood of Zeus is 12. I don't know. I haven't watched it in a minute, but yeah. So she narrowed it down to Erased.
Mhm.
And what was your first impression on the first episode? Like when it starts off?
Um, Well, I mean, it kind of starts off really quickly. I think his name is Satoru, and he's just basically, going to deliver pizzas. At first, because I don't have a background, first of all, the first thing that stood out was that anime to me is not very animated. And so, what I meant by that is, I'm so used to watching shows where there's more expression in the face, there's more dialogue. There's things that are going on in the background, whether it's traffic or people walking by. So I think that was the first thing that stood out is just it's very one on one or one on group, and one person kind of there's this dialogue and then this narration that's kind of different. So that was the first thing that stood out. And then I just, after I got over that, I tried to just kind of follow the plot. And so I'm like, okay, how old is he? And it wasn't really clear right away. So once I figured out he's like in his 20s, and then, he starts to have what do they call flashbacks, I believe. Allie, do
It's
you remember?
I think he calls them revival.
Revivals, right.
Yeah.
So he starts having these revivals. And I don't think, and I'm not going to go too far because I'll let you ask another question, but it wasn't until he kind of goes back into his childhood that I think it became even, remotely interesting to me.
I will agree with you on that. Once it did those revivals and you kind of got to see his childhood and how he
Right,
interacted and probably how he is today, right? Because a lot
right.
of what we do in our childhood kind of shapes how we are as an adult. Seeing that, you're like, okay, this is starting to get interesting now. What makes you you at this
Mhm.
present time?
Right.
Um, but yeah, this was an interesting show. I personally have not seen the show, so when you picked it, it was my first time
Oh,
watching it as well.
Okay, so you watched it.
I watched it right along. I finished it out. Cammy,
Okay.
what about you? Was this your first time seeing it too?
It was on my watch list of things to watch, and as everyone else knows from our first couple of episodes, I have a very long and ever growing watch list.
Your watch list is never finished.
Never finish. It's too much to watch on my watch list. But it was my first time watching it because I didn't anticipate to watch it as soon as I did until Ali told me about the little contest about having us all watch it to review it. And I was like, you sure you want to watch this one now? Because I wanted to watch this like maybe next year kind of thing.
Right,
But I
right.
was like, okay, I'm good with it. I mean, it's only 12 episodes. I should be done within less than a month, give or take my work schedule and busy life schedule as well outside of work. So I was like, okay, let's watch it. In my mind, when I first saw the picture for it, in my mind it was something different, and I could have sworn I watched a clip for it for something else, but I realized it was a different anime that had the same kind of picture, but it was called something else. So in my whole entire mindset, I thought it was something else until I actually started watching the episode. And I was like, wait, this doesn't look like the clip I saw. And then realized I was
Right.
actually mixing up two animes with the different names. But spoiler alert, everyone who is listening, I want to let you know we might give away some spoilers. So if you have not watched the series, stop now before we continue. Stop now, go watch the series,
Absolutely.
then come back and listen. I want to give that disclaimer.
Exactly.
We might give away some spoilers. Also, we might mispronounce almost every character's name except for Satoru, because I have a friend named that have the same name, so I can't mispronounce Satoru.
Right.
Yeah, glad those disclaimers are out the way because these names are about to get a little butchered, bud.
Yeah, I only know two. So I'm telling you right now, it's what is it, Kaio and Satoru. That's it. Everybody else I'll have to describe.
Yeah, we'll just give description.
And his mom, Sachiko.
Yep.
How'd you guys feel in that first episode with the mom? Because I was like starting to actually like her as a character, and I was like, she ain't gonna last long. She's asking too many questions.
I was surprised. Like, I think that's what kind of initially I was like, well, who kills the mom in the first
Disney.
episode? So I was a little,
Disney.
yeah, I was a little thrown off by that because, it sounded like he hadn't really been around her. And then all of a sudden here she is, and she seemed like a good person. And so to have her killed so quickly was strange to me.
I was just upset. I'm going to be honest. It wasn't strange for me because I'm used to this lifestyle of parents dying or disappearing or being taken away or walking away and neglecting their kids. Hence the Disney lifestyle storylines, okay? Always something with the parent. So I've built up an immunity to that. What pissed me off was that his mom dies and he goes into this whole, Mom, are you okay? Mom? Don't even stand at the door, let me call 911. No, I'm gonna go over there, touch the body, get all bloody, and then some random human comes by.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we have neighbors. Sees you, forgets that you're the good kid that lives by him damn self, screams at the top of her lung at the fact that his mother's there, and pretty much accuse him of murdering his own mom and don't even know the scenario. I'm like, dude, didn't you just live with this kid, around this kid that, like, how many months? You say hi to him, you wave to him. He's never giving you the inclination that he's a crazy psycho, but you're screaming off the top of your head like he just murdered your family member. I'm just like, did you see him with a knife in his hand? Like, come on, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, yeah.
I was so pissed off. I was madly pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I really did. I was like, maybe the mom might last half the season.
No, one episode, she's done.
I was hoping she was dead. I was like really hoping like she just had passed out because of the blood loss and it got to her quick enough. But no, this dude legit just stood there and was just like, Mom? And didn't even like think to call 911. Like, you see her on the floor, you see blood, call 911. No, you go over there.
Now 911 kind of came really quickly.
Yeah, because someone screamed.
Immediately
probably the whole entire neighborhood dialed 911 to hear her scream. She sounded like an opera singer. First off, she echoed through the whole entire neighborhood, and it was quiet.
And then he says, "It's not what you think." No, man, it isn't what you think. Like, I would have been like, Mom, I've just found her. Like, say something.
Yeah,
he's just
say
like,
something to
explain.
explain.
For the life of me, he runs,
and then
and I'm just like, what what you running for? You did not do nothing. Like when the coordinator comes up and like takes the body, they're gonna see like the timestamp. Like you just got off the work. You just got off of work. You had to pass a few cameras on your way towards home. I don't remember if he drives or not. I think he has a scooter, right? Or he walks.
Yeah.
So
No,
he
the
has
scooter
to
got
pass a
crashed.
whole bunch of places that has at least a camera. So he's timestamped somewhere to give you the inclination, like, oh, he couldn't have murdered his mom. When would he have time? From the time of death to the time he got home, she was already dead.
What I found, and then I'll let you talk, Allie. What I found interesting is I couldn't tell time frames in anime. So, like, how much time actually passed from the time that he got, in the accident with the truck,
Mm-hmm.
and the time that his mom was killed? Like, it was hard to tell. Like, had a month gone by? Had a year? Like, how much time?
I think they did tell you when because I think he was in a coma, right?
No,
Right?
No. She didn't get
Oh,
to that
sorry,
part.
that's later. But
Yeah.
when the truck hit him, he did get knocked out for a little bit. He was in the hospital for at least a week or something, a couple of days maybe.
I think that's what they said, like a week.
Right. And then when he got home, his mom was there. So, but do we know how much time? Like, was it how soon after did she get killed? Like, was it like right afterwards,
after he got home and stuff? It was like maybe a couple of days after she was there.
Okay.
Because it was after that second revival when she stopped the kidnapping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when she started questioning everything, getting into her old contact, and the person realized that she was up to something in regards to him. So then I guess he just finished the job before she could do
She was really close to finding
information.
out the killer, because at the end of the day, they start realizing like she was still following the trail because she still kind of believed her kid, but she couldn't understand why the evidence was pointing to this dude, and he keeps telling her, "Mommy, I know he didn't do it." But for him to be locked up and then there was no more killings, and then we don't know that people are still like dying little by little, because once a killer, always a killer kind of syndrome. So you're going to always want to get a fix. So she's probably been watching and studying and like seeing if there's any connections between other people's murders to what had happened in their during his childhood. And I think she was close to like getting the case open, because the thing is that the person that was accused and tried and put in prison was about to get out. And if this person got out before she put it together to say, hey, this person was locked up, but all of this was happening, that kind of,
then he's going to start killing again.
Scenario. So unless we have a copycat, he couldn't do it because he's been behind bars. You legit took this man's life away. He just got out of high school. He's in prison for like majority of his adulthood. He's going to come out, he's still going to be a kid. He's going to be 30-something, almost 40-something years old, and he's still going to have the mentality of a kid, and he can't work. He can't work with his dad. His dad's probably super duper old, and no one's not going to want him to work in his dad's company or job because everyone looks at him as a murderer and a child molester.
I feel like I need to go back and watch the thing over again. Like you caught everything, and I feel like I missed some of these details. I'm like, really? Is that what it was? So I need to watch it again.
This was an intense anime.
It was a lot going on.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed Erase. I yelled. I think I told Allie. I yelled at my phone and my tablet a few times. I almost threw my tablet on the floor because I was pissed off. Like there's one scene that pissed me off. But I think we're getting off topic. Okay, Allie, I think you had some questions.
Yeah. So what did you guys think going into the next episode? Because it ends with the mom being killed. So what is your mindset going into next episode? What are you expecting to kind of happen? Were you thinking it was going to be a revival, or you think it was just going to start off with?
I feel like, that would be the second episode. So I'm going to try and remember. I feel like right after that, he started to go back permanently, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
Because I think that's when Kaio is kind of introduced to us.
Yeah.
In the second episode, and he's trying to, what I guess, and maybe I'm sure Cammie will be able to kind of clear this up, but I was trying to figure out why the kids were so angry or so like isolating towards Kaio? Like, what was it? I mean, I know she had the whole thing with her mother, but why? And why did he feel like he needed to help her?
Allie, you want to jump
I
in or
want
you want me
to
to
say something
explain?
real quick to that. I think
Okay.
in society, right, when someone's different, right, or not part of the norm, they're
Mm-hmm.
always focused on and looked on, whether it's negatively or positively, right? And I think that's part of it is she was in a different circumstances than a lot of her classmates. A lot of people, if you've been through domestic abuse and things like that, like that's what this kid was experiencing, and so from her mom.
From her
So
mom.
I think that also
Mm-hmm.
changes you because you have to grow up quick when you're experiencing those kind of things. Your mindset's not going to be the same as your peers, right? So I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
that is they just didn't understand why she was so different. And when someone's different, sometimes people just can't accept their differences. They just want to poke fun at the difference, I guess, in a sense. So that was my take on it was like
Right.
because she's so different, because she's experiencing things that not every kid is experiencing, it highlighted her in a sense, made her stand out.
But I feel like he was going through his own stressors during that time as well. Like it just seemed he seemed very stressed and very traumatized, just trying to kind of stop everything that happens in the revivals
Well,
from
think about it.
happening.
He's going from his adult brain where he just saw his mom just die, right? And he's going into this
Yeah.
kid body and he knows it's himself as a kid, but he still has his brain as an adult. So he's trying to like, wait, maybe they brought me back so I can fix what needs to be fixed in the past so that my present is not the
Mhm.
way it is at the moment. So I think all that, like you said, all that like stress that he put on himself, he started to see little things that he didn't pay attention to when he was just a normal kid.
Right, because he's looking back.
And trying to do things differently.
Pretty deep though.
Huh?
Like, I don't know. You really think about like the topics that's being covered with these animes, right? They're really, it's current, it's relevant, it's what some people have as
And some
experiences.
animes are going to be very, very lighthearted. We you kind of got one that was just
Okay.
very dramatic, serious. But there's like lighthearted animes. There's
I think I'd want to see the comparison, but we'll talk about that another time. Like just something that was a little
mhm,
bit less
yeah.
heavy.
And we definitely can recommend a few of them for you.
What would you give her?
Yeah, give me a little bit of laughs.
Hmm?
Give
Give
me
her
something to
a good
laugh about.
laughing one. What would you recommend?
A good one that makes you laugh. Hmm. Oh no, that one's sad. I was gonna say one, but then that one's sad. A good lighthearted one, maybe Astro Boy. It's not that serious, but it's also lighthearted
Mhm.
as well because it's an artificial robot kid who is made for a purpose, but pretty much the professor that made him wants him to be a kid, even though he's a robot. And he wants him to understand that he is real and his emotions and feelings and thoughts are real, but he also has to remember that he is a robot that has weapons and he's utilized to help and protect and save the world in a sense. So he has a job to do,
Okay.
but he also wants him to live as a child. So there's serious moments, depends on which Astro Boy you watch, where there's serious moments,
Hmm.
there's conflict of interest, there's the morality, and you have to think like, okay, am I doing the right thing or am I not doing the right thing? Do I think this way because I was programmed this way, or as in most cases as a human, because I was taught this, is it right? So it makes you think of being taught something as a child and bringing it into your adulthood versus being programmed as a robot and bringing it into your adulthood. So it brings in the similes to think like, okay, as a child, I was taught this. He's a robot that was programmed to think this way, but he was given free will to also decide what to do. So he has the
Hmm.
conflict of interest, like someone else who he looks up to is telling him to do something, but then someone else who's an adult is also telling him to do something, and he's like, well, you're an adult, so I should trust you because my daddy knows you, kind of thing. So it's like
Right.
it brings you back there, but Astro Boy also gives you those heartwarming moments where he's with his robot sister because he makes one for him to have a sibling, and he's with his friends and they're having fun, and it's a really good watch. There's action, um, like I said, it makes you think and it also makes you smile. There's no, that one's heavy. I was gonna say Honey and
Well,
Clover,
do
but
you
Haiku if you like sports, but it's a sports volleyball anime that's pretty funny and lighthearted.
That might. What is it? Is it like this whole
It's
thing
literally
around with
centered around
the
volleyball.
game? Or?
It's a main character that basically you see his progression in the sport and how people are viewing him
Mm-hmm.
because he's short. He's like my height. He's everyone's like, "Oh, you're
Mm-hmm.
playing volleyball? Like, are you sure? Like, what can you do?" And he has
Right.
just different athletic abilities that not everyone has. But he's no pro. It's not like he's instantly good. So it's just cool to see that progression. But all the characters are very hilarious when they interact with each other, and it's like a whole group of friends with different dynamics. You got the serious person, you got the silly guys, you got the guys that you could tell are loners in the group, you know. So it's interesting to see that.
And are all the animes? Again, you have to remind your audience. Like, I'm totally a newbie, don't know anything about animes, but are they all out of Japan, or do they have like American
Yes.
anime?
So they do have variations. There's Chinese anime, there's Japanese anime where it pretty much originates. There is French anime, there's British anime, there's American anime. So anyone can make an anime. Most people consider anything anime is a style slash art form, and most people when they think of anime just think straight out of Japan, but there's lots of different animes, and a lot of animes have bridged the gap of languages where, like, for instance, Sailor Moon was or Sailor Moon or Saint Seiya, for instance, which is Knights of the Zodiac, were mass produced,
Pokemon.
and depending on where it was, Voltron too, it was in multiple languages, and in certain places, like the Voltron that we were experiencing as kids was different than the one that someone experienced in Colombia or in Spain or in Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic,
Meaning
because
their
of
features, meaning their features were
their features were
different,
different,
right?
but it was what episodes they actually were able to see. See, in the United States, we have a thing called censorship. In other places, censorship didn't really happen like that. It was pretty much whatever the standpoint was, raw and uncut, that's what you got. Here in the US, they cut
Mm-hmm.
and paste a lot of different things together to censor it. Like Sailor Moon, for instance. We in the US, the original Sailor Moon that we received that came out from Japan was censored a lot. There were scenes where people were kissing and making out. There were scenes of nudity that they blurred. They had to like cut and paste and make it differently, so we didn't see like breasts and other body parts.
Mm-hmm.
And like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, Sailor Jupiter, not Jupiter, sorry, Sailor Uranus and Neptune, there were actually a couple.
Yeah.
They were never cousins.
But in
And they
America,
tried so hard to censor their relationship that it became really hard, to a point that they actually stopped showing Sailor Moon on television for a while so they can figure out how to censor their relationship, because they were very intimate.
Why did they have to be? Or why did
Yeah.
they? Were they two
Yes,
women? Like,
there
why
were
did
two
they have to be
women.
two? Oh, okay.
And then
Okay.
actually, I think it's Sailor Uranus is actually transgender. So as her non-transformed mode, she looks like a boy. She acts like a boy. And then when she transforms, she's dressed like a woman. So later on in the new series that actually came out, where they have it as not as censored anymore, and they're actually going to give you like the tea, she actually says to Sailor Moon, "I am both sex." And then everyone's like, "What?" So she legit tells you, like, I am both.
Yeah.
And then later on,
Yeah.
we have they had actually brought it out, and then it kind of disappeared again. The last season of Sailor Moon, there is 3 characters that are called the Starlights. They come to Earth to look for their queen who disappeared, and in the midst of another war, different battles and evil person, and you find out who, like, the real ancient evil who's been sending evil to the planet Earth and all that stuff like that. But the 3 Starlights, they have to transform. They're actually legit transgender, like straight up. And the United States didn't know how to fix that. So they didn't really explain what it was. They were like, "Oh, this is their disguise so they can hide from the bad guy." But in reality, when they're not transformed, they're straight up dudes. They are a pop group. They are singing. They're in relationships. And when they transform, they become women. They're like, they got boobies, and they're just like, they're women.
And do you feel like, so then, I mean, I kind of feel like I miss a whole bunch of stuff, but do you feel like then there's a message behind anime? Like, does anime tend to take on like
Oh, they
political
do.
things or things
There
that
are a lot of animes that are politically correct in the sense of history. There are a lot of them that actually, I like to call them Easter egg animes. There have been a lot of animes that have happened in the past that kind of led up to like
Mhm.
making you believe like people were trying to tell you things that were going to happen before they happen. Like, say for instance, COVID-19. There are a lot of animes that had something COVID-19 related in
Wow.
their anime. That kind of like a lot of people who've been like locked up and they're like, yo, this reminds me of what happened in this anime, how the government's controlling people with this and how the government controls people like that. Like, for instance, there's an anime called Ghost in the Shell. It literally makes you have like political thoughts. You watch it and you just like, is this what's happening in our society right now? It makes you think.
Hmm.
There's a lot of them that makes you think. There's a lot of war animes. There's a lot
Yeah.
of animes about like sports that teach you stuff. There's a lot of animes that legit teach you things that you probably would never known about a sport or about a task, about cooking, sewing. Like, they will make an anime
I'm
about
just like,
anything. They make
really?
animes about teaching you how to have relationships with people, like how to understand and articulate and be more diverse and be understanding of someone else's situation.
Okay, so I have to stop you. Why did you send me the ones that you sent me, Allie? I mean, not that that race wasn't, but like I probably would have been more interested in something along those lines than something more fictional. I mean, I know it's all fictional, but like when I hear you talk about it, you're like, they've got this and you can learn this. Like, that would be interesting to me. Like, I want to see this in an anime. So we may
We
have to
could do a part
continue
two. We
or
can
have
give
a
you. We
part
can give you a
two.
different one.
Because now I feel like I need to go back and educate myself a little bit more and watch some different, genres and areas of anime to really be able to contribute more. But it's very interesting.
I mean, so for the ones that I gave you, there some of them were ones that Cammy and I both have seen, and then some I actually went and posted online and just asked people generally like their opinions on like, hey, what's an easy one to give into or things like that that
Gotcha.
not maybe as what's the word, not as crazy
Difficult.
because like I could have I was like I gave you Death Note and I'm like if my sister sees Death Note I don't know
Oh my
how
God,
she's
what's
gonna
wrong?
respond because I mean it's one of
Oh
those
no,
animes
now
and
that's
like
gonna
Cammy
make me
said that
want.
with Death Note it makes you question like morality, like if you had this ability would you use it, would you not use it, and basically to sum it up in Death Note you get like a notebook that if you write the person's name down in the notebook they die.
Or
Oh damn.
Code Geass, where that is about different political parties and factions versus the rich versus the poor kind of thing. Like, something happened and now the world is divided. All the poor people are segregated into this economy and all the rich people are segregated to this economy and they don't intermingle. And it's always a clash
Right.
of interests. And everyone's like, well, if you just do this, you'll be here. And then they're like, well, I don't want to give up my free will to be there. I'd rather be down here and be able to think for myself and do as I please. And they're like, well, then be poor and sick. Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Now, what did you going in of talking about Erase now? What do you or
Hmm.
who do you think is the killer? Now, me and Cammy kind of well, we already know, but who do you think at this present moment is the killer if it hasn't been revealed to you already?
It has not, because again, disclaimer, I only got through 8 of the 12 episodes because I waited to the last minute, but I will go and watch the four. So you can continue to talk about it. I still will go watch it. But if I had to guess, now I think they want you to think it's a guy, from everything. And, it looked like it should be a dude of some kind. But I think it's that crazy little seven. Well, no, was she up? How old is the
Which
girl?
one?
Was
Which
she
one?
17?
The one that
The
like
the
follows
girl
him
that
around?
works at the pizza.
I think she
Yeah, how old is
Eris.
she?
I think she is like 17 because he said she was
Yeah.
like a high
Or
schooler.
18?
Well, it couldn't be her because she would have been a baby. So wait a minute. Let me think.
The one at the pizza shop, right?
I don't know who it is.
Yeah, the one who got her house
Oh,
burned down by the killer.
yes, yes. It's not her. It's the boss. The boss
The
at the
boss at the
You
pizza
think it's the
shop.
boss at the
The
pizza shop?
boss.
Why?
Because he looks creepy.
You know he hits on her all the time, right?
But who do you guys think it is?
I already knew who the boss.
The second
Lady.
episode,
I
I
already know who the.
Well, who did
I
you
already
think?
knew who the
Who
killer
did you
was
think it was?
from the.
like
I think whenever he finally stopped going back to the present, whatever episode, the third episode into that, that's when I already knew who the killer was.
when I was
How?
when I
'Cause
was
I
watching
feel like
it,
I watched them.
that second to third episode, I was like, oh, this is it. This is who it is. At first I thought there was an accomplice, so that's where I was wrong. I thought at first there was an accomplice to the killer, and I thought there was two of them. And then after I continued to watch, I was like, no, there's no accomplice. It's just one guy.
Well, when you guys are saying the killer, so you were assuming it's just the same killer, because are we talking about the killer of the mom or the killer of the two missing?
First, we're talking about the killer for the kids.
For the kids.
For the kid that
Okay.
died, that he was trying to save as a kid now.
The
Yes.
little girl.
So
The little girl.
when I was watching it, I was like, okay, I already have two people in mind automatically to who killed his classmate, because at the time she wasn't his friend yet.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have two people in mind, and it's one of these two. And as soon as I get to like the next episode, I guess the third one or maybe the fourth one, I already solidified who the killer was, because I was like, yeah.
So
you're
who
the
were
killer.
the two options?
Who
were the two options?
You want us to tell you who the killer is? You sure?
I want you to give me the two options and just let me choose who I think it is.
I only give one of your options and I'll give her the other one.
Okay, so my option was the teacher. And then my second one was that blonde kid. What's his name? His friend. I thought
the young kid,
the smart one.
I thought for the mom that he might have been
like
when they got older.
Which mom? Hold on, say that
again.
The
Kuro's mom. I thought the one that killed her was the blonde-headed best friend. What's his name?
Okay.
I thought because he was kind of close to the teacher, so I was thinking both of them kind of have like a
got together,
Kenya, right? Or
yeah,
something like that.
So those are the two people. I thought one killed the kids, and I thought he killed the mom.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So for me, I honestly thought I honestly thought it was my two choices were the teacher and then the girl's mom's boyfriend.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Because I had three people. Sorry, I had originally three people. It was either the girl's mom's boyfriend. I don't know when he gets introduced to us, but I think he was also a killer. The teacher or another student, because these little kids and they evil.
Yeah, this is probably the teacher. I think I don't know what happened, but it would have to, because it probably is a guy, right? Because it looked like it was a guy that stabbed her. And but did the teacher kill the mom too, or just the little girl?
Well, we can't give that away.
Yeah, we can't give you that.
Okay, so I gotta go figure that part out.
At this time, when he goes back in time and they're talking about a murder for a little girl, and he explains who that little girl is, I had those three people in mind for that murder. When it comes to the mom, because it was like in the first episode, me personally speaking, I thought it was the shadowy figure, the one that was going to steal the little girl, because she saw the person.
Right,
she took the
picture. But we didn't know who that person was.
She was like, I know that face. And then that's when she goes into her little investigator mode.
Because she's a reporter.
So I already know that she knows her killer.
So I have to assume then
from their past. So I put two and two together that more than likely that this killer is the same person that killed this little girl that he's trying to stop the murders of other people, including her. Because he realizes that once he stops the murder of, what's her name again?
Kyle.
Yeah. Once he stops the murder of Kyle, then it's a trickle effect. It goes to another person. Because remember, when Kyle dies in the past, there was two other murders. So he's like, okay, if I can prevent Kyle from dying, then I have to prevent the other two from dying too.
But let me ask you this, because there was a part in it where he thought Kyle passed on March 1st. And this is the part I kind of confused me. And then he got past March 1st, and then when he looks at it, it switches to March 3rd. Like, what was that
because he changed history, but he did not stop the murder. He prevented her
Okay.
from being murdered on a particular day,
Right.
which he thought that, oh, okay, if I stop her from being murdered on March 1st, it's not going to happen at all. No, you got to
Right.
stop the murder indefinitely, because the murderer can't get
Mhm.
you on the 1st doesn't mean he can't get you on the 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Prevent the murder on the 1st by
Mhm.
keeping her safe on the 1st. But that doesn't mean that murderer's still not out there waiting, plotting.
Plotting to get ya.
Whoa.
Well, I will tell everybody. So the answers must be in episodes 9 through 12 because didn't get them up to episode 8. So I'm gonna
Did you
have
finish
to watch
episode
that
8?
tonight. I got through like I would say the first 11 minutes
Oh, you
of
didn't
it.
finish episode
It's
8.
like
Yeah.
I have it up on right now. It's like on pause
Okay.
on my TV.
You didn't finish episode
So
8. You might get some answers on episode 8. You might.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and you know what I will say? It probably took me a little bit longer than it would take you guys to watch the episode because it was all really new to me. So I'm trying to take it in. Like I'm trying to, and then I felt like I had an ADD moment where I'm like, oh my God, it's losing me. Stay focused, stay focused. But I will say the more I watched it, it became like, you guys are younger than I am, but it was almost like it brought me back to the time of being a little girl with my great grandmother and listening to the radio.
Aww.
Not that we didn't have TV. I'm not that old. We had TV, but we didn't have cable. So it reminded me of like hearing a story, even though it's anime. And I mean, I'm sure that's a big part of it. But for me, I was like, almost like I was doing more listening to the story than actually watching it.
I remember the time I used to listen to the radio because I wasn't allowed to watch the TV.
Yeah. The radio, I mean, you have to be an active listener.
Yeah. Paint the picture.
Listen. Exactly. And that's actually probably harder to do than to just watch something that's already, it's all given to you.
Yes and no. It depends on the human, to be honest. It depends on the human. But for me, watching Erased, it was like, for me personally, it was like watching another like murder mystery, like watching Law and Order or what's the other one? Law and Order,
NCIS.
All of those.
CSI.
Yeah.
CSI Miami. Like watching that, it was like I was watching one of those shows where you're following a character and trying to figure out like who's the murderer, how do I stop this from happening? But I'm given a chance to go back in time to prevent not only my mother's murder, my classmate's murder, who becomes my friend and love interest, and also protect 2 other people who are also in my class. The other 2 people were one person was in his class, another person was from another damn school. So he had to go figure out how to get to that human too. Yeah. So it's a whole plot. And it's actually funny. This is like a side note tidbit. Watching him plot how to like save all these people and how to befriend this girl who doesn't know anything about him, never seen him a day in his life, reminded me about how I plotted in middle school to be friends with particular individuals. Like they don't know me. I know them, but they don't know me. And I'm like, I want to be her friend.
I want to know them. Exactly.
And I was like, I want to be her friend. How do I do this? And I legit plotted how to become this one girl's friend in middle school. Like I remember that I most of my teachers called me a teacher's pet anyways. So like I had such good grades. One of my teachers in her class, she was just like, you know what? I need a student aide. You want to be my student aide? And I was like, yes, this is my ticket to become that girl's friend, because she was a student aide. And I knew a lot about her because I have friends who are her friends, but I was never around when she was around, if that made sense. And I was attracted to her as a kid because she was very smart and she was pretty and she was popular-ish, because she wasn't like the extreme popular. She was like group B of popularity
on the line.
And she mingled with the A popularity crowd and the B popularity crowd. I was in all 3 groups, A, B, C. So I had friends in every group in school. But her in particular, I was like, I want to be her friend. And to this day, I still don't know why I wanted to be her friend. I think it's just because she was pretty and smart, and I was like, I want to be her friend.
Were you guys friends? You gotta let it. You gotta let us know.
I told you I plotted it. You wasn't listening. I had to plot. I made sure that every day I was at school, and then I knew she was at school. I ran into her in the same hallway every time. I made sure that I was
Mhm.
close friends to one of her friends who was actually related to her. Found out later on, and I was like, "Ooh, bing."
You know what they call that
Oh yeah, I'm still
nowadays?
friends with both of them on Facebook and on Instagram. But she has no idea that I plotted to be her friend this whole entire time.
Well, she may. Hey, she may if she
She
listens to
might.
She'll
this.
never listen to this.
She might.
But it was funny because like I plotted, like I made sure that like I like took my time to get to know her and just like let her know me, and it didn't become something weird or awkward. Like I made sure that every time I was at school and I knew that she was a teacher's aide that day, I made sure I was in that same hallway to walk past her to say hi, and then I changed the
Mhm.
hi into like a
Mhm.
short 2-second conversation, and then made it into a
Uh-oh.
5-minute
Plotting, plotting.
conversation. And then when my teacher asked me to be a teacher's aide, I was like, "Oh yes." And then that's how we became closer because we're now 2 teachers' aides. So I'm like, "Hey, so tell me about this," and da 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 da. And then we became
Mhm.
friends. And I was like, "Yes."
Mhm. That's pretty cool.
It's crazy, right?
It's
Yeah.
life.
I mean,
I
you
was
really.
like, it reminded me of that because when he was talking about like, "Oh, I need to save her, but we don't go to the same school. I don't know anything about her. I don't have any friends who are friends with her. How do I do this without her thinking I'm some crazy weirdo?" So I was just like,
Mhm.
that reminded me of me in middle school. I had to do that. I had to make her didn't feel like I was a crazy
Mhm.
So
weirdo,
you
but
can
because I
relate.
wanted to be her friend.
Right, right. It was a thin line,
Yeah.
right?
So yeah. How else do you feel about the series thus far?
Um, I think I mean I like it. I think for me again, it's just getting to the adjustment of anime. Like when you don't, you guys both watch it, so it's probably just natural for you. For me, it seems a little slow. Again, the fact that they don't really make facial like their facials, like their mouth moves a little bit and maybe their eyes pop a little bit, so I think it's just something different. I think the more I continue to
Mm-hmm.
watch it, and I definitely finish this series, and you guys, look at Astro Boy, I'm hoping to like it more and more. But so far, if I had to give it a
Hmm.
1 to 10, first I'll start with anime and then I'll say what I think of Erase because I feel like I can separate the
Mm-hmm.
two. So I would give anime a 6.5
Mm-hmm.
right now. Again, I think it's because it's new and I just need it's lack of
Yeah.
exposure,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's just my overall initial assessment. And of a race, I think it's a good story. I'm a bit of a writer myself. So I like the fact of flashbacks and, kind of going back through time and trying to change that and, hopefully being able to find out who murdered his mom and how stories go. I thought it was understandable, relatable, believable if you're believing, what's happening with him in these what are they
Revivals.
called again, Allie? Revivals. I don't know. When I hear revival, I think of church, so it's just a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit, trying to separate the two. But I'd say 6.5 and another 7.5 for Erased as a series.
What is it that you actually typically watch when you're able to watch anything during your busy time
Hmm.
being a parent, being a
Hmm.
entrepreneur, and in your own personal life? Like what do you when you do have time to watch anything or listen to anything, what is it that you usually gear toward?
I love suspense movies. I love historic pieces, like anything that's time period movies, historic time frames. Um, I think that's pretty much the genres. I don't do scary so much. I love documentaries, so anything that I'm going to learn
Mm-hmm.
something from. But I like action and suspense. I'm not really a comedy person. Action or suspense is probably my number one, trying to figure out what the plot is, seeing what's going to happen, who's going to, make it through.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good.
Hmm.
I do have a few recommendations for you. I'll tell you a few right now just in case anyone's listening that wants to like see something that's less serious but a little bit more lighthearted. I would definitely give like Lupin the Third a try. It is a really long series, but it's about three individuals that are literally following the scheme of things of trying to rob stuff. Like they're they're thieves. So they're like they
Hmm.
have a lot of things going on, but they're like really fun and outgoing characters. And there's like they're nothing alike. They're all three individuals that are a team that work together, and they're like the brains, the bronze, and the lighthearted one. So it's just like everyone rallies together to complete the job or the task at hand. Sometimes it's not about stealing, sometimes it's about him taking something from someone to give it back to somebody else too, or trying to help the
Mm-hmm.
world. Like he's stealing something from someone that's about to do something really bad that can hurt a lot of people. So, or sometimes he's just stealing for the fun of it, or he's stealing just because he feels like it. Lupin the Third is a really good one. There is, I just had it in my hand and I lost it. I would say Trigun is a good one. It does have a little bit of a serious moment, but the main character, he's really funny, happy-go-lucky. You later on find out a little tidbit about him, and then you realize why he is the way he is. If you do like
Mm-hmm.
sports, I would definitely recommend Megaloboxer. It does have a little serious. It's a little bit more serious, but there are some fun-hearted moments where it makes you laugh and smile. And it's about the underdog trying to get ahead in life and trying to succeed in a sport that nobody believes in him except for himself and his trainer. I would also say It's a Kiss because it's a cute, lovey-dovey anime. There's nothing really too serious. There might be one or two moments where you just feel like that could be me, but it's really nice and happy-go-lucky.
Mm-hmm.
I would also recommend Mushishi because it's like there's a lot of nice calm moments. There's one or two serious moments where you have to look like, oh, is this going to end up bad? But then everything ends up always going the correct way at the end. You don't feel bad or you don't feel sad. You just be like, wow, that was really nice. And they have beautiful imagery. And I love the sounds of the anime. Like there's a lot of instrumental, and it just makes you feel like ASMR versus anime.
I think you should also check out Blood of Zeus just because of the Greek mythology in it. If you
Oh
like
yeah,
Greek
yeah.
mythology, like Hannah loves it. So when we were watching it, she's like, "Oh my god, they actually included like how these people were. Like, that's kind of cool, or like their characteristics." And then it has the
Mm-hmm.
whole suspense of like who who's you know the real villain in the show kind of deal. But it's only 8 episodes. It's on Netflix, but it has like all the gods, and then like you have the main character, which I won't tell you too much about because then it kind of spoils it. But you have him and his mom, and like just seeing their day to day life and how they different because they're on the poor side of the country, whereas how the wealthy people are, and how the gods try and put their hands into everyone's life to try and shape it to what they think is
Mm.
right. So
Well, I'll have to. I think I really like the. What did you call it? The Blood of Zeus? Because it kind of has that historical
and it has action.
part of it.
Just
So maybe I'll.
warning you now,
Yeah, and it
it
has
There's a
has
lot of
action.
fights.
action
So
in there.
maybe I'll watch.
The gods do not hold
That's
back.
also on my watch list.
Yeah,
Oh, is it really? Yeah.
it's
Is it a
eight
long
episodes
series?
on Netflix. I think the episodes are about like 45
Hmm.
minutes.
Well, I'll have to. I'm going to be traveling soon, so
Little
I'll put
watch
it on
list.
my yeah, of things to do.
But yeah, so I definitely think you should finish Erased.
I am going to finish it. I'll probably finish it before you leave. So
For anyone
yeah.
who doesn't know, I'm going to Korea.
I know. I thought about that after I said it. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know if it's something that she's sharing.
I'm moving out of the country. So that's what she meant by when you leave.
K dramas are the best. They're really good. They are something else. And honestly, to speak candidly, a lot of shows and TV movies and things like that we watch now here in the US, a lot of them are inspired by a lot of K
Hmm.
dramas. Like I remember, like for instance, Ugly Betty. I don't know who did it first, but I feel like that was more of a Latin American drama, and the U.S. made a version of it, if I'm not
Same
mistaken.
thing with The Good Doctor. I don't know if you guys watch that on ABC, but The Good Doctor actually, I think, started
Hmm.
in Korea. And it's basically The Good Doctor is about the main character, don't remember his name, but he's on the autistic spectrum, and he's a surgeon. I think he starts as like his residency or something like that. And it's the whole like, should we let him be a surgeon at our hospital? Should we not? Because he's on the spectrum, this, that, and a third. And they kind of go through it. But I think it started in Korea. Like, I think it got really popular here. but I think it was a Korean show first.
Okay, I didn't know that. Is there anything else you would like to add? Did you let our listeners know how they can find you?
I haven't, but I can. So, first and foremost, I just want to thank you both for giving me the opportunity to, one, expose myself to something I probably would not have seen otherwise, and two, to come on and share my opinion or my thoughts with you. So, in terms of how you can reach me, if you are a naturalista and you have natural hair or dreadlocks or locks or braids or twist outs or any of those above, please check out my website, www.locsand, LOOSE. So that's locksandloose.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Locks and Loose. So go ahead and check that out. And then again, my content page or my lifestyle page, which really is just me, is underscore I am Angel Marie underscore. So check me out. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much. And hopefully, Allie, you're going to be doing
We're
these
gonna
from
try.
Korea?
I'm definitely gonna try to time it. Maybe we might do like one every month or maybe a couple of months. Let me get settled in Korea.
Yeah.
But once I'm settled with the time difference, we're gonna try to get us going here. That's kind of the whole reason why we kind of stopped. Was I was going through this, Cammy was going through her own thing as well. So we weren't able to like record and do stuff like that. But yeah, the plan. This
Is
is
this
the
the
first
first
recording in a while.
I feel honored.
It's been a couple months, so this is the first one in a minute. But
okay, well, you definitely got to try and coordinate it so you can do something while you're in Korea, because I'm sure you'll have time.
Well, in quarantine, I might make a YouTube channel and put some stuff up when I get there.
Yeah, see, you should have had that channel together. Maybe, I don't know, you can put it in the description once you know what that name is, because I'm sure some of your listeners will want to follow you on YouTube.
Yeah, show us all about Korea and all your little adventures, and when you go out to eat and make some friends.
Yes, definitely. I want to follow you, so you got to do that, because that's probably all that I'm going to get. So
same here.
But
well, thank you again for joining us. Oh my God, I can't speak.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Me. All right, guys, I will see you next time.
See you next time.
All right,
bye. And then, guys, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at here_our2cents. That's here, HEAR_our, the number 2 cents. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. Okay, we want to hear your 2 cents, so make sure you give us some love, share your comments. What is your thoughts on Erased? Is there any other animes you would recommend for a first-time viewer? Please let us know. Cammy, anything else?
Nope, just peace, love, and take care of yourself. Stay healthy out there in these streets. We just want you all to be safe and healthy. Take care of yourselves.